Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening somewhere. And there we go. Let's get going on the chat line instantly. Today I'm organized. Or at least I look like I'm organized. There's Robin. Hey, Robin. Let's see. Well, you can see we start off with the dollar index this morning, and you can see went into a daily sell yesterday over on J4X. You see it's pressuring itself to go into the sell today. You see that right there? It's got a red hinky. The green line is below the dash line. We're seeing the pressure there too. Is the dollar really, what's the question, or I guess the answer to it all, is the dollar really selling down? I don't know about that, but we do know one thing, and that is that the dollar is firm. It's been firm. We're at some highs, pretty big highs. We've seen, let's go to the euro just really quick on J4X here for a second. You can see the euro is bouncing at the bottom end of its range. And you can see that pretty much with most of the other products. Let's go with where's it at? Right. Let's put the euro on there too at the same time. It's probably building up to fall over also. Yeah. No, in this case here, they got a green there. And we have a green dot there, and we had a volatility the day before, a red and a green right there. So there's a little pressure, and then we're seeing it in the dollar indexes. They're trying to show like they want to take a profit or do something at the moment. The Jackson Hole tomorrow. I guess one of the last headlines I've seen on Jackson Hole. You see, that's all we do is see headlines on Jackson Hole. Yesterday must have been like 5 or 6 of them. Metho. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So yesterday's headline was. See, how did they phrase it? It was after the webinar. I showed you who's afraid of Jackson Hole, but there was another one that said the Fed will capitulate. In other words, when it's needed, they'll stop raising, and they'll just, in other words, if they get in trouble, they'll just start lowering rates again. That's it. And I guess that's what everybody. Hey, Jordan. I guess that's what everybody's kind of paying attention to, is they think that the Federal Reserve is going to find a way to drop the rates again. Just bang, bang, just drive them down. So that's where we are. And I guess that is the fear that's been flying through the marketplace. And that is that Jackson Hole, he's going to make some type of statement. And that statement is going to be, it's going to look like he's going to tighten or keep tightening. But no one believes that he's going to keep tightening. And that's what the problem is. Not afraid of Jackson Hole, afraid of recession. Well, I understand that the Atlanta Fed, which is, how each one of these Federal Reserve areas has like a job. Like the Philadelphia Fed talks about manufacturing in the Northeast. And they put out the Blue Book, I think it is. And they've been doing that for a long, long time. And the Atlanta Fed follows GDP and recession. And they lowered the rate again yesterday. So the third quarter is looking like it will be in recession again. In other words, it'll be 3 quarters in a row of negative GDP. So they've lowered it from like 2 plus, now it's down to 1 plus. So it was like it went to like 2.2, then it went to like 1.7 and or 6, then they went to 1.3, and now I think they're down to 1.1. And so here we are in, so July, was the second quarter. So August will be the first month of the third quarter. And so what will happen is that with that down, not down, but just a 1, down to 1%, by the time we get through September, chances are it could be minus. And so they'll be projecting a minus. Not afraid of Jackson Hole, afraid of the recession. I hear you. I do hear you. All right. So that's really the poison that we're dealing with. They're flirting constantly with falling deeper and deeper into recession. Larry Kudlow, IBM. Good question. Um, let me see. The I guess the best way of looking at it was what is it? It's no growth. That's what the problem is. That's what it really is. They're doing everything they can to retard growth, slow growth, reduce growth, and that's really the craziness that's going on, and that's what freaks them all out is the fact that we need growth. That's what it really comes down to. We need growth, and without growth, nothing. It gets worse and worse and worse. And just it just we need growth. I don't think I can say it any better than that. Let's see. I'm trying to find IS. That's what it is. There we go. I'm answering a question to somebody. Someone fired something else out. The IAS machine itself. Let's see, strings. There we are. There we go. There we go. Let's put that in there. There we are. Finishing it off. That'll answer it. There we go. I'm just transmitting. Let me show you what I'm transmitting out. You might find it very curious. A friend just asked me a question about it. Let's see, right there. I'm going to bring it over to you. Can I bring this over to you? Yeah, I can bring this over to you. There we are. This picture here, I posted it, and someone was asking me, well, where is it? You can see this computer, and he said he thought it was like IBM or something like that. That was at the Institute of Advanced Study in the 30s. Well, actually, it would be in the 40s. In this case here, it would be like 47 or something like that, 46. They had a computer there. You'd be surprised how many computers they had around, And that's John Van Neumann, Neum. He's considered basically him and Teller built the hydrogen bomb, and then Oppenheimer was in charge of the the neutron bomb, and so that's at the institute, and Oppenheimer there is the first director of the institute at Flood Hall there, and they built the institute for Albert Einstein to keep him in the East here, and I just answered a question someone asked me about that. So, okay, let's get rid of that now. I just thought it was a cute picture. So I posted it. So yeah, and the end result is that the Federal Reserve is marching slowly in a direction of, trying to stay on the type, I guess you call it like the type rope or type wire. It's like when I go to a circus and someone's walking this big type rope, they call it, way up, and the Federal Reserve is doing its best to try to pretend that it's going to keep on raising rates until it hits inflation number. So it gets to 8%. But we know it's not going there because you can see it on the 30-year and the 10-year and so forth. Everything seems to stall out in the 3.5 area. And since we really believe more of it is from political policies than it is from like economic problems, that we think that it'll change pretty dramatically. In some ways, they were probably right about the fleeting, but they won't explain what the fleeting really meant. It means that, once the Republicans get control of everything, the inflation will go away. That's what it seems to be saying to me. But anyway, that's what we're going on. You can see there with the euro. Let's jump over to the cable. See what the cable looks like this morning. And there's the cable. And it's trying to lift up, and you can see it's actually through the buy line right there at the moment. The weekly, of course, is still below. And we'll put it up on J4X. Right there. And so, that's still red. Whereas at least over, in Chicago, we had the red and green 2 days in a row right there. Let's widen that out so you can see it. You see, we got a red green there. Let's make that line thinner, Mr. Bollinger's lines. Let's make them thinner for whoever's watching the Bollinger Bands here on this product. When we put it up, let's see, style, and make it thin like that. That's better. So you can see the 2 days back to back of red and green, and then green and red, trying to turn up and then turn down, and now you got this going on with none at all, and it's getting through. So that's actually throwing it into a buy as we speak. We're starting to actually see a buy signal develop on the cable. Now, would be nice if we were in a weekly buy, but right now we don't have it, and it hasn't closed there yet today either. We're gonna, that thing's like basically right there. And stagflation, yeah, that's it. That is a very good point. That is exactly what we're starting. Matter of fact, people like Larry Kudlow and so forth, and what's his name? I can't think of his name. Art Laffer and so forth. Are saying, it wouldn't be that bad if they were doing this socialism, but they got to find growth at the same time. In other words, okay, good, do your socialism, but you better find growth. And socialism doesn't do any growth. There's no economic growth in socialism. So, it's always eating past growth. It's not creating growth. And that's what the problem is. Let's see, Metho is saying, have a lot of gold. I guess, I saw, what was it? Silver's through the numbers today. Let's take a look at that really quick. There's silver. Silver's jumped up through the number. Yesterday we had got, matter of fact, look at that. It did the same thing as the cable almost. 2 back-to-back days of red and green. And then today we are through it. Matter of fact, that line should be even lower at the moment. But we'll let it play. We're going to put it down here. Solely because, it was playing with it. And by the end of the day, let's hope it's through there, and it'll stay, that type of thing. Let's move it over one, like that, just to remind us. And so, it's trying to get into that buy. It's doing a pretty good job at it. So, stagflation, yeah, I hear you. I remember those years pretty clearly. That was the Jimmy Carter years. And you could say also at the same time it was the Richard Nixon years too. Now, also at the same time, Richard Nixon, the Democrats had a veto-proof majority. So there were 330, I want to say there was like 327 Democrats in the House. They had a super majority. That was beyond even super. They had 327 Democrats in the House of Representatives. So Nixon barely had any power whatsoever. Unfortunately, history likes to hide that stuff. But when you go and look at the makeup, there was only 97 Republicans in the House of Representatives, and then Richard Nixon. Stocks to, matter of fact, I think the Secretary of Treasurer was a Democrat. I forget, half his cabinet were Democrats. Stocks to expansiveness. The next earnings reports will be bad. Yep, I agree. And so, we had stagflation starting off with Richard Nixon. And, who was making policies and spending the money? Democrats. With a super, super majority of 327 Democrats. 327. There were 97 Republicans. And like I said, I can hear his name. He was from Texas. The Secretary of Treasurer. He was a former governor. I can't think of his name now. Matter of fact, he was in the car when John Kennedy, I think, was shot. Or he was like in the following car. I can't think of his name. He was very powerful Democrat. He used to do a lot of, you would see him in the news all the time. So that's why I'm talking about that now, because, I figure after 90 years of Democrats having super majorities and Xing out the president of the United States all the time, that the pendulum may swing this election. We might get a supermajority in the Republican side for the first time since 1871. So we'll see how that plays out. And that's what I think the markets are looking at. But that's funny. You mentioned stagflation. I've never told that story. That with Nixon as president in the late 60s, he got elected in 68, and then he got elected again in 72. But his whole cabinet, to a great extent, most of his cabinet were Democrats. And he had and the House of Representatives was a supermajority. I think the Senate was something crazy like like 64 or 65 to 35 when it came to Republicans. 35 Republicans, that's all. So yeah, that's why I follow politics that way. I follow the economy that way because it's pretty clear who controls the House of Representatives. And how much they control it by is what kind of policies you're going to get. Just like Pelosi today. So, all right. From there, let's take a look at gold real quick, and then we'll go back to the Swiss. You see that it's trying to perk its head up too. We had a red and a green there yesterday. It's trying to lift. We're still in the weekly buys in both silver and gold. All right. Let's jump over to the dollar Swiss right there. You can see it's giving us a red and green there. The pressure is building a little bit there, but we're playing with the weekly buy at the same time. Yeah, I have a hard time understanding or expecting. See, stocks too expensive. The next earnings reports will be bad. Probably somewhat bad, yeah, because of inflation. But and earnings is the mother's milk of the stock market. I agree with you. So yeah, there's gonna be some pressure there from all that, and that's really the challenge right there. Let's see what else we can say about any of these currencies at the moment. Just that the dollar is pretty firm. And what the fear is stagflation. You're right. I don't think it's going to last. I think everything's going to be fleeting. Really, I really do. I think the markets are telling us that. I think you look at the math, all those weekly buys, and we go into daily sells. Let's go over to the S&P 500 or the Dow even. But you can see right here. There's the S&P 500. Look at that weekly. It's not trying to break down much. Not at all, really. Can't even break the time manifold right there. It's in the plus easily. We're flirting with a daily buy as we speak today. It started off down in the 3,700 area. Matter of fact, it started off even lower, really. But when it went into the weekly buy, and it got down into the 3,600s, 36.39. There's 36.42. And when we went into that weekly buy, our lows that week were 37.23. So, that's pretty impressive. The markets have moved to 43. It's a 600-point move. And it's like a 14% move in the S&P 500 or 17% maybe, something like that. That's a pretty darn good move, So them giving back just a few hundred points is not exactly like the world's come to an end and they're topping out. It'll be interesting to see how they play out over the next couple of days, especially past the fact that Jackson Hole is after the markets on Friday, and again the stagflation. I remember those stagflation years. God, I can hear the guy's name. If I say the guy, you're going to think that he was a Republican because he was in power in so many positions during the Nixon years, but he wasn't. He was a Democrat, and they controlled being able to, put people into positions. The president chose somebody, and if he couldn't get the Senate to agree, he had to go choose somebody else. And this guy was in the news, all the time. He had been a former governor. I think he'd been a former senator, and now he was head of the Treasury. He was a Democrat. It'll come to me. I can hear his name in my head. I can't say it. I don't know why I can't just, say it. Too many other names are kicking out, like Earl Butts and so forth. And let's see. I remember when he died, it was almost like as if a president had passed. That's how powerful he was. Let me see. From there, let's go back to the currencies again. And we'll take a look at the Turkish lira. See if it's still dancing with the 18 over the 18. I would imagine so. Nobody needs to see Nikkei? Disney Weekly looks like corrective price action. Oh, you're tricking me, are you? You want me to throw Disney up? That's no problem. I like looking at Disney. I like to see how it goes down in value. It always makes me feel good. Yeah, look at that. Another new high. Back to the 1817s on the dollar Turkish lira. Let's open up. Where do I have Disney? I have Disney around here somewhere too. I do keep it. See, Disney. No, I don't have Disney. But let's put Disney in somewhere. Who did I? Oh, I helped a friend ask for something called ET. It's like a $17 stock. There it is, right there. I sent that out to him, and you can see all the buying and selling and all that other stuff. And then, let's see. There's AG. Who was watching AG? It's 3 days in a buy. It's still in a weekly buy. And that sell, whatever reason it was put there, is not necessarily there anymore. That's for sure. That's that gold stock. Let's go into Ford, and we'll put Disney in Ford. Dizzy, D-I-S. No, we don't have Disney in there. I thought we had Disney in there. Add the symbol. Stock. D-I-S. Look up. There we go. There we go. There's Disney. Been that buy since right here. Right there. I'll tell you in a second. I don't think so. That was minus. Went into the buy right there. That week. You see we went into the buy in the par area. $100 area. We were in a daily buy days before it. Like right there. And then they did one little correction there. And right back in the saddle again. There we are. And then I put it into the sell here. Right there. And back in the buy right there. One day before. There we are. Right there. Now you couldn't take that short, of course. All you do is take the profits from the wins from here, or profits from the wins from here, or whatever. But in the end result is you couldn't take the short because we're in that weekly buy right there. So there is Disney. Let's see, Jordan. There's the Disney. So it looks like it's trying to get back into the buy again today. Metho says next year in Germany, you don't need to work. You take your Burgers Guild and have something to eat in a warm home. Need no fuel to go to work. Let's hope not. Let's hope it's a mild winter. You know, with all those CMEs from the sun over the last couple of weeks, and the cycle might kick up. The 5-month cycle should kick up again. Let's see. So August, so September, October, November, December. Yeah, so January, February, we should see some good activity from our star. And maybe it'll heat up the earth a little bit more. Remember, we will be closest to the star during the winter, and so those CMEs will have a little bit more effect on us. Let's see what else is there. That's about it. When it comes to the dizzy and so forth. But yes, I hear you. I hope that things don't get that bad in Europa. All right, from there we go back to the currencies again. Right there. From the dollar Turkish lira, we run over to the euro Turkish lira right there. It's starting to perk its head up. You can see it's trying to get into a daily buy there today, right there. And we're still on that weekly buy. So maybe it's going to join in and come up and take out these tops. I don't know. We'll see. It's been very impressive. They're trading at parity. The dollar Turkish lira versus the euro Turkish lira, both of them are trading at parity. Parity is the name of the game, isn't it? You can see the euro trading at parity and just a little below it. See, there it is right there. The euro flirting with the 999.69. Wow, 999.69. So that is the action that we do see. Janos, I need to Monday. I need to start 3 hours early, so we'll do that 3 hours early thing again. And then we'll go from there. 3 hour tour. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I'll put it on the Skype. Monday, 3 hour early start. I just remembered that. Oop, that's not it. There it is. So from the Turkish liras, we go over to the Canadian. Let's see what the Canadian's doing. Now it is moving down, and it tried to move down yesterday, but it did a poor job at it. But it did get into the sell. As much as it did a poor job, it did get into the sell yesterday. And oil is making that march. It's lifting. So let me just show you oil really quick here. Right there. There's the spot oil. It's down a little bit today now. Made a new high. And then done its rollover thing, Let's see. There we go. So, the Canadians, go back to the Canadian. And so oil is firm. It's hanging firm. Right there, you can see the weekly. Let's move this over a little. Let's do this. Let's see how we do this. You can see right here. Let's move this up. You see the weekly is right on the edge. Matter of fact, you can see it right there. It is minus. So we can get rid of that for the moment. It's just minus by the hair of its chinny chin. But we were trying to play with that weekly buy, and it's starting to fail. And we get into a sell here. And if oil is going to keep on moving up, wrong place there. If oil is going to keep on moving up, then you're going to see pressure on the Canadian U.S. dollar pairs trade. Bing, 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 bing. All right. So from the Canadian, we go over to the South African Rand, and let's see what kind of insight that's giving us on the metals complex. Right there. And let's put the Rand up here on J4X. Right there. A little pressure on the downside here, which is a bullish sign to the metals complex. And that's why we take a look at, we saw gold this morning. I think it was up. It was up. Yeah, it's up. So South African Rand is giving us the direction. It's telling us that it's got that little pressure. You can see yesterday. Now that's Canadian. Let's go back to the South African Rand. Right there. Yeah, it did the same thing. It fell into a daily sell at the end of the day yesterday, giving us a heads up that the pressure on the gold. Oh, don't need to put it there. Remove. Bing. Bing. There we are. So it showed us yesterday that they were putting some pressure on the upside on metals. We really do think the metals will find a way to lift. See, method next year. I guess that's a bit it there. What else can we say about the metals? Again, we started talking about this yesterday, and we've been talking about it for months. I really do think we're going to see better metal prices going into the last quarter, because I think interest rates are going to, after the election, after the two increases after the election, after the two increases between now and the election, I think that they're going to stop raising, because if we get that super majority that I keep on thinking is going to happen, it'll have a profound effect on the economy in a positive way. All right, from there we slide over to, don't need to see a Nikkei, anybody around here? I'm going there. I'm going to take a look at the Nikkei, because I'm curious now. There's the Nikkei. Trying to get into that buy. You see it right there. It's really close. And it's in that long weekly buy. But too much red there. Ruble. Unfortunately, we really don't look at that currency solely because of the mess it's in. I will say this about that. That's all I'm doing is putting that there. But almost nobody trades it, so it's not really something you'd want to trust. But I would, to me, I'm going to go to the Japanese yen now. To me, the volatility is in the 18 percentile, the 20 percentile. So, I wouldn't trust any chart on the currency we like not to name. I think it's too thin. Pretty much almost everywhere it doesn't trade it anymore. Unfortunately, in the States, we still do trade it because we are importing Russian oil. Yeah, figure that one out. And so, talk about a president that's not sure if he's coming or going. So, but we call it the currency that will not be named. It's kind of like Harry Potter and Voldemort. Now, over there you can see the yen, trying to move down a little bit here today, but the weekly is trying to get into a buy. So it seems to be stalled out right here. It's like a plateau that's developed. The currency that we will not name. And there it is on J4X, the yen, and it's trying to roll over here too. You see that? But we're still all that green, But that's as far as I will go. I will put it on the screen, but I won't say anything about it. And it's like Harry Potter. The currency that we will not name. We always liked trading that currency until all that craziness. All right, from there we drive ourselves towards the south of the border here in the States. And we look at right there, the Mexican peso. See if it's banging down it's trying to go back down to the zero line, bottom end of the range. You can see 3 days in a sell right there. There we are. There we go. And when looking at the peso and the Canadian, they've done a really good job at staying in the range. We talked about that yesterday. Matter of fact, we might even want a title of this, because that could have been a title for yesterday, and that is how the Canadian and the Mexican peso both have stayed in very good ranges over the last couple years. Range bound. I think that's the best way to describe it. Range bound. Let's see, what else is there? Yeah, I think that's going to be the title today, too. So you can see there the Mexican peso. Let's see. Easy on my side to check afterwards. Okay, thank you. There we are. So, and let me just say back to normal on Tuesday. Back to normal on Tuesday. There we are. So, I guess the best way to describe the currencies in general and the dollar in particular is that the dollar is just firm. Even when it's weak, it stays in a very tight range up top. And so I don't think we're going to see. I guess the best you can really imagine is we'll be stuck in the 3% area of interest rates, but we will be growing again in 2 quarters. And that will probably put a charge into wanting to be long dollars again, you know. I mean, not again, they're long them now. But that'll probably give even more confidence. I saw somebody come out and talk about the dollar, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days ago. And they said that the dollar is probably going to stay firm for a couple more years. Now, they were comparing it to the policies, economic policies of the countries, the majors, the major currency economic policies, those countries. And they were basically thinking that we're going to see it stay like this for a while, which is surprising to me, but it's been that way. We've been firm for a while now. You know, when looking at the dollar, it just keeps on finding ways to get firm, you know, be bought, so forth and so on. All right. And let's see what else we got going on here. Private housing company just off California Berkeley campus has banned. Oh my God. Crazy. Just crazy shit. Yep. Yep. Okay, so I'm answering a question to somebody. All right. Let me see. From there, we go over to. Let's go to. Let's see who jumps out first. What is that? That is the Nikkei. Okay, so let's go to. There's gold. And over here on J4X, let's throw up silver. No, let's take a look at gold. Let's see what gold is doing. It's trying to turn up nicely too with 2 days of green. J4X is fighting it. It's trying. It's trying to get going there as we speak. So there's some strength coming into the gold. And I think it's going to keep on coming. There's silver. Silver is trying to do the same thing. We're seeing that same push in the silver complex. And it's making the move there. You know, it's had 3 green dots and 2 red dots over the last 3 days, like that. The volatility signals are screaming. Wouldn't it be nice? Yep. Rolling in his grave, Robin. He's rolling in his grave going, this is crazy stuff. You know, I would think that, you know, maybe, let's see, September starts next week. You know, we could be getting ready to really start to charge it up a little bit. You know, normally metals go down when interest rates rise. But again, if metals start to go up because they think interest rates are dropping, which I think that's what the markets are interpreting, then that's the pressure we're going to see. Let's see what copper's doing. Oop. There's copper. Copper's still in that buy for 6 full days now and 3 full weeks. Now, they've lowered interest rates over in China and they're trying to prop up the economy, but it's really going topsy-turvy at the moment. China's in real trouble financially. I heard someone this morning try to say that they're an $18 trillion economy. Well, when you devalue your currency again, I don't think it's fair to even value their economy until they have a currency. Without a currency, you can't value the economy. Jordan says, was looking at the yen weekly and daily, going over the charts again. Think some sort of a range for a while. It has been. It broke out of its range, and then we're at 27 or 28 year highs. Let's go back to that currency. Let's see, where's that? Right there. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of put itself into this range since the last breakout in June. For a long time it was down in this range. We were watching that range. Between like 108, 109 to like 115, and it kept on hitting the 115 and failing for months. And that's why Robin and I wrote that article right there, because we thought this one's going to be the one that takes it up to the 25s. And it got past the 20, ran 10 handles, but it went beyond 10 handles, and it went to 135 right there. And now we've almost gone up and touched 140. You're talking about 30-year highs, 25-year highs, things like that. It's the yen has been interesting, and you can see it's flirting with its. Look at this. Since March, it's only been in a weekly sell once, and I guess was it 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, and then 2, 4, 6, 8. So it was 19 out of 20 weeks in a buy at one point. And then after some noise, like right here, we went to a weekly buy for a couple of weeks, and then a sell, sell, and then a buy, then a sell, then a buy, and you got this move. And we wrote the article. That was what made me feel confident. That next buy I thought was going to really charge it up. Let's see, where can we steal another buy? We'll find another buy in there and we'll move it over. Take that guy right there. I think that's what it was. Let's see if we can find it. Right there, yeah. That made me think, oh man, it's getting ready to make its move. It went in and out, in and out, in and out, And now we're flirting with, let's put that circle in there. Now we're flirting with the buy again. And it does seem like it's trapped in some type of range. Right there. So yeah, that's a good point to talk about there. I don't know if I this thing could go into the 150s or 140s. I remember trading this product when it was in the 600s and 800s. It used to be 800 yen to the dollar. I remember it was might have been 1,000 yen to the dollar at one point, but I remember it was enormously high. I remember watching it march its way down to par, to 100 for a long time. So, we've had a bunch of years, decades down in here. You see it there. There's 108. There's the 100. It got real close to 100, I think. I don't think it did it. Let's take a look at it on J4X. This will take us back. Let's go monthly. There's 2011. Yeah, it was in the 80s. That's it. I knew it was down under par. And then in 2012, it started to get going. You can see it's like you can see that range there, and it's like I guess they're trying to maybe treat this as the bottom of the range right there. This is like the William O'Neill cup and handle. It's definitely going to try to go higher, that's for sure. There we are. Yeah. I agree with that. Matter of fact, you can see here we put a red line at there at one point. We were watching that top. Guess we could go like this. Should probably make it like yellow or something like that so you can keep track of it. Probably that right there, like that. File, save. Let's see if when they take out that top. All right. From there, we drift into, where were we at? Let's go over to the energy complex. So there is crude, that's spot, and it's pretty much unchanged now. High today is 95.76. We're trading at 95.24. Let's put Brent in right up in here. Brent's 102 today. It was 100 yesterday when we were looking at it. So Brent is holding up pretty well in here. This is the spot trading at 95.21 and 24 now. Let's take a look at December oil. I think there's like a dollar premium on it at this point. 94.15 versus 95.24. So it's like a $1.10 premium in there. We've seen it get as low as 70 cents, 65 cents, something like that. So the back months now are almost the same price as the spot. You know, they were $4 and $5 wide for 4 months. You know, they were that wide. Now you look at the 3 month, and it's a little more than $1. So money is concerned about the oil sector. You know, in other words, they're not willing to throw it away. They're not willing to drive it down. Okay. So from there, we go to Nat Gas, and there's the September Nat Gas. Kind of trapped. And let's take a look at the December Nat Gas right there. No, I'm sorry, it's October. That's what it is. October Nat Gas, kind of trying to firm up a little bit, but you can see it's in. Did it go into sell yesterday? No, it missed a sell yesterday, but it's trying to get in there today in the back month. But it's in a weekly buy. Now look at it here. Right there, same thing. That's our spot at 9.30. It's come off of the $10 area. And then let's take a look at European. We saw European get up almost to 30. Yesterday we saw it trading at 29.40s. Let's see where it's trading at today. Right there. 29.74. Still very firm. As what was it, Jordan that was saying it? I think it was Jordan that was saying it, right? Or was it Metho? Metho was saying it. That they're not going to have any fuel. So no one will be able to work next year. Or this winter. It'll be like everybody's go skiing or something like that. Save fuel and go ski. I think it might have been Metho that said it yesterday. The number one, or I saw a friend say it too down in Florida. She said that the number one Googled word in Germany is wood. So firewood, I think that's what it is. That's the number one Googled expression. So everybody's preparing to have to burn wood to stay warm. Welcome to the green new world, where you turn green, frozen. All right, from there, what else we got? I guess that does it. We've looked at the energy sector. Oh, let's look at the. I noticed Robo Oil last night, Robin, was pressing down. Let's see if I can find that. There it is right there, October Robo. Yeah, so it's 4 days in a sell. And it's in a weekly sell. But it looks like it's trying to turn up. Lay in bed and save fuel. I hear you. I hear it. You can burn energy in there different ways. And get warm different ways, exactly. Get under the covers. Yeah, that'll make stagflation, that's for sure. When the workforce can't come out and work, that'll just make the food and everything else. Oh, I saw today that Ukraine had shipped 720,000 tons, 750,000 tons of grains. The Ukraine has shipped now. No, I like the idea that society is actually functioning. I hate it when they do these things. It forces society to be doing nothing. That's not a good thing at all. And so that's our energy look. Let me think. What else do we look at over in energy? Heating oil. Let's see where heating oil is. We have heating oil. Right there. Heating oil is running. Look at that. That's the diesel. They measure diesel off of that because it's the same process. Look at that movement in it. And it missed the weekly buy last week by just a thread, but it's going to go into the weekly buy this week. Whereas gas oil, or for the automobiles, is in a weekly sell for weeks and going nowhere since like back in the beginning of July. It's been trapped between the $3 and $2.50 area. So that's range bound also. All right. From there, we drift over to, let's see, where do we go from there? Let's see what the stock indices are doing, and let's look at Bitcoin, because I noticed Bitcoin, trying to throw itself into a daily buy there. It's still in the weekly sell, but it's flirting with the daily buy again today. Red and green yesterday, day before red and green, and a couple of those products we're seeing that now. We're seeing a lot of red and greens. We saw it in silver. I think we saw it in the S&Ps. A few things. We're starting to see the volatility try to kick up. And then, let's see, there's the S&P 500 we were looking at. Yeah, there's one red and green there. And it's trying to climb into the daily buy there today. And it's in that weekly buy. So that's what's really saying to me, this is no real selling, because they're not really pressuring the weekly signals. And taking 1/3 down doesn't really do it. You see the same thing with the Tech 100 right there. There's the Tech 100. It's trying to turn right there, and the S&P 500 on J4X trying to do the same exact things. The daily is trying to turn. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Showing a little weakness there, but nothing major. It's slid itself into it so far. We'll see if it survives. I doubt it. I bet we turn up. Then from there, we look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average right here. And you can see there, doing the same thing. It's trying to turn up. The weekly is very firm. Over here on J4X, you can see it's just flirting with the weekly sell at the moment. Let's go to the daily again. Right there. You see it's trying to also make its turn down here at the bottom. Yep. And yep. So, from there, we've seen it. Bitcoin's trying to lift. And, I was mentioning it last week. There was this one money manager, and he was saying that when they get bullish on the stocks, they buy Bitcoin. So, obviously Bitcoin or the cryptos are not really that much of an alternative when it comes to direction. Now, its abilities are very interesting. It has the ability to move currency like a bank, or move assets like a bank. So that's kind of, it's unique in that way. But overall, we're not really seeing anything more than that. So Uh, I guess that's about it, really. We're kind of done. Unless anybody wants to see anything. I'm looking to see if anybody wants to. Let's see. BTC, Bitcoin, is like a meme stock. Yeah, really. Isn't that the truth? It's kind of funny, isn't it? Like that. It runs up. It has a natural tendency to run up when stocks run up. It has a tendency to go down when stocks go down. It acts like a equity, and it is. It's a totally. I call it a different asset class. That's all. And so at the moment, it matches up. One day, it will change its whole gig. Yeah, like AMC and BBY. Yeah, well, BBY and GameStop. Yeah, BBY is just really sliding into it now. I hear you there. So, alrighty, we are out of here. This is Doc from North America. We will catch you on TGIF Friday, same time, same channel. But on Monday, we will be 3 hours early. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. That'll be Friday. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, later, traders.